Welcome, esteemed gentlemen. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. This timeless observation by Elie Wiesel perfectly encapsulates the Sigma male's approach to the world when they simply couldn't care less. But don't mistake their silence for weakness or their calm for complacency. Sigma males are masters of calculated detachment, a kind of emotional ninja move that leaves you questioning whether you ever truly mattered. Here's a little-known fact. Studies suggest people tend to feel more unsettled by indifference than by outright hostility. Why? Because indifference doesn't give you anything to work with, no drama to fight, no closure to grab onto, nothing to analyze in your late-night overthinking sessions. And if there's anyone who can pull off this psychological vanishing act with finesse, it's the Sigma male. Think of them as emotional escape artists. While you're busy trying to decipher their cryptic behavior, they've already moved on, mentally, emotionally, and sometimes even physically. If you're hoping for grand gestures or dramatic exits, prepare to be disappointed. With a subtle shrug and a poker face that would make James Bond jealous, they redefine what it means to not care. But don't worry, this isn't a pity party. If anything, their indifference is almost an art form. And if you stick around, we'll explore the 10 ways Sigma males show they couldn't care less. A guide that's equal parts fascinating, frustrating, and yes, even a little funny. Number 1. They don't celebrate your wins or mourn your losses. When a Sigma male doesn't care, one of the first signs is how little emotional investment they make in your highs and lows. They don't celebrate your wins, nor do they mourn your losses. To them, both are just events, neutral occurrences in the grand scheme of life. It's not cruelty or apathy, it's a deliberate choice to not get entangled in someone else's emotional roller coaster. They see triumphs and failures as personal journeys, and they won't insert themselves into moments they believe belong solely to you. This detachment can be unnerving. When you achieve something incredible, you might expect applause, validation, or at least acknowledgement. With a Sigma male, you'll likely get a polite nod or a simple good for you that feels less like a compliment and more like a formality. It's not that they're unimpressed, it's that they genuinely don't think their approval matters. They believe success should be self-celebrated, not dependent on external validation. On the flip side, when things go wrong and you're looking for sympathy, you might find a similar void. They won't offer a shoulder to cry on or wallow in the emotional weight of the situation with you. To them, pity is a disservice, and dwelling on failure is wasted energy. Instead, they might offer a solution, a brutally honest observation, or nothing at all. They see your struggles as a part of your growth and assume you're capable of handling them on your own. This isn't an act of malice, but a reflection of their worldview. Sigma males operate on self-reliance and expect others to do the same. To them, life is an individual journey, and they're not here to cheer or console. They're here to live, free from unnecessary emotional entanglements. Number 2, they operate on out of sight, out of mind. When it comes to Sigma males, the phrase out of sight, out of mind is more than a saying. It's a lifestyle. Once you're no longer in their immediate sphere of relevance, you might as well not exist. It's not an act of malice or deliberate dismissal. It's just how their mind works. They don't cling to people, places, or situations that aren't actively present in their world. For them, emotional attachments fade naturally with distance, like sand slipping through your fingers. This detachment can feel cold, even unsettling, especially if you're someone who thrives on constant connection. You might text, call, or drop reminders of your existence, only to be met with delayed responses, or no response at all. It's not that they hate you or want to hurt you. They simply don't think about you when you're not physically or mentally in their space. Their energy is focused on the here and now, on whatever captures their immediate attention. Sigma males are not ones to maintain relationships out of obligation or guilt. They won't check in just to keep up appearances, and they certainly won't lose sleep over what anyone thinks about their lack of effort. To them, relationships should exist naturally and effortlessly. If they have to force themselves to stay in touch, they'd rather let the connection dissolve quietly. What's fascinating is that this detachment isn't personal. It applies to everyone. whether it's a longtime friend, a coworker, or even family. If you're not a part of their current reality, they won't pretend otherwise. They operate on an unspoken rule. Proximity breeds priority. If you're no longer in sight, they simply move forward, carrying no extra emotional baggage. For them, it's just efficient. For everyone else, it can feel like being erased. Number 3, they don't adjust their life to accommodate you. Sigma males don't adjust their lives for anyone, and that's a hard truth to swallow if you're used to people bending to accommodate you. Their schedules, routines, and priorities are designed with one person in mind: themselves. If something doesn't align with their plans or purpose, they won't compromise. It's not arrogance or selfishness, it's their way of maintaining control over their lives. They see their independence as non-negotiable, and they won't allow anyone to disrupt it, no matter how close they are to you. This approach can make them seem unyielding, even dismissive. If you want to meet up, they'll fit you in only if it doesn't interfere with their plans. If you need help, they might assess whether it's worth their time and energy before agreeing. They don't drop everything for anyone, not out of spite, but because they value their autonomy above all else. They've likely spent years cultivating a life that works for them, and they won't rearrange it to fit someone else's agenda. Even in relationships, this trait can feel like a double-edged sword. While they won't demand you adjust your life for them, they also won't make sacrifices to merge into yours. This isn't about being cruel or detached. It's about sticking to their core belief that no one should compromise their individuality for the sake of others. Being around a Sigma male means understanding that their life is a well-oiled machine, running on their terms. If you can't work within their framework, they won't force it. They'll simply let the connection fade. Their unwillingness to adjust isn't a rejection of you as a person. It's a declaration of their commitment to their own path, and for them, that path is sacred. Number 4, they use politeness as distance. When a Sigma male doesn't care, their politeness becomes a subtle weapon, a way to create distance without confrontation. To the untrained eye, their courteous demeanor might seem genuine. After all, they still say please and thank you, and they respond with just enough interest to keep the conversation alive. But dig a little deeper, and you'll realize their politeness is a shield, a barrier designed to keep you at arm's length. They've mastered the art of giving just enough to avoid seeming rude, but never enough to let you in. Conversations become surface level, stripped of any real substance. They'll nod along, make a generic comment, and keep the tone pleasant, but there's no real engagement. Their politeness isn't warmth, it's a boundary. And the most unsettling part, you can't call them out on it without looking unreasonable. This form of detachment can be infuriating because it's so subtle. They won't ignore you outright or lash out. They'll simply disengage emotionally while maintaining a veneer of civility. It's like talking to someone behind a glass wall. You can see them, hear them, but you can't reach them. And that's exactly how they want it. What makes this even more effective is their complete lack of malice. They're not trying to hurt you or make a scene. They're just signaling in the quietest way possible that they've checked out. Their politeness is a tactical move, allowing them to disengage without burning bridges. It's the ultimate balancing act. They remain respectful while making it abundantly clear that you no longer occupy a meaningful space in their world. It's not cruelty, it's strategy, and few people execute it as flawlessly as a Sigma male. Number 5. They refuse to react even when provoked. When a Sigma male couldn't care less, no amount of provocation will shake them. You could hurl insults, push their buttons, or try to stir up drama, but their reaction, or lack thereof, will leave you baffled. It's not that they're unaware of your attempts, they're fully conscious of it. They just refuse to grant you the satisfaction of a response. To them, engaging in emotional outbursts or petty conflicts is a waste of energy they'd rather channel elsewhere. This unshakable calm can be infuriating to those seeking a rise out of them. You might expect anger, defensiveness, or at least a flicker of irritation, but what you get instead is a controlled, almost detached demeanor. It's as though they've mastered the art of emotional neutrality, treating your attempts at provocation as background noise. They don't just ignore the bait, they render it irrelevant. What makes this so powerful is the message it sends. By refusing to react, they're essentially saying that your attempts to rattle them are beneath their attention. It's a quiet yet cutting way of asserting dominance, not by overpowering you, but by showing you just how little of an impact you have. Their calmness is a mirror reflecting your own emotional chaos back at you, making you question why you're even trying. For a Sigma male, this isn't about playing mind games or being manipulative. It's about protecting their peace. They've built a fortress of inner stability, and they won't let anyone breach it. They've learned that reacting only gives others power over their emotions, and they're not about to surrender that control. In their world, silence isn't weakness, it's strength, and they wield it with precision. Number 6. They redefine couldn't care less by living it. Sigma males don't just say they couldn't care less, they live it. Their indifference isn't a performance or an act. It's woven into how they move through life. They don't waste time broadcasting their detachment or explaining it to others because they don't need to. You'll feel it in the way they prioritize their own goals, in their refusal to get caught up in trivial matters, and in how little they're affected by the opinions or expectations of others. This mindset is more than just apathy. It's intentional. They've chosen to strip their lives of anything they deem unnecessary, including people, situations, or emotions that don't serve them. They don't dwell on what they can't control or pour energy into relationships that don't align with their values. When they've checked out, you won't find lingering glances or half-hearted attempts to reconnect. Their indifference is clean, quiet, and absolute. What makes this so striking is how unapologetic they are about it. Sigma males won't offer excuses or soften their stance to make you feel better. They don't feel the need to explain why they've distanced themselves or justify their lack of interest. They believe their actions, or lack thereof, speak for themselves. This level of detachment can be jarring, especially if you're someone who's used to emotional cues or social reassurances. With a Sigma male, you'll get neither. Their ability to live indifference isn't about being heartless. It's about being focused. They see emotional entanglements as distractions from what truly matters. For them, couldn't care less is less about dismissing others and more about maintaining clarity and purpose. It's not personal, it's a philosophy, and they embody it effortlessly, leaving no room for doubt about where you stand. Number 7. They won't explain their exit, they'll just leave. When a Sigma male decides to walk away, they don't announce it, explain it, or make a scene. They just leave. It's one of their most defining traits, and one of the most baffling to those on the receiving end. There are no grand exits, no final arguments, and certainly no heartfelt goodbyes. One moment they're there, and the next, they've vanished from your life as though they were never really part of it. Their silence isn't a ploy for attention or a way to manipulate, it's a clean break. Sigma males don't see the point in dragging out endings or providing closure. In their minds, the decision to leave is enough of an explanation. They believe actions speak louder than words, and their absence is their statement. For them, closure is overrated. It's just another way to get tangled in emotions they've already decided to leave behind. This silent exit can feel abrupt, even harsh, but that's not their intention. They're not trying to hurt you, they're trying to protect their peace. They've calculated that whatever situation, relationship, or dynamic they're leaving behind is no longer worth their time or energy. And when they make that decision, they don't second-guess it or look back. What makes this so powerful is how final it feels. Their departure leaves no room for negotiation, no cracks to slip through. You're left replaying the last moments, searching for signs of their detachment, but it's too late. They're already gone. Sigma males understand that lingering only complicates things. By leaving quietly, they preserve their energy and make a clean cut that ensures they can move forward without unnecessary baggage. It's not just an exit, it's a statement of self-respect, delivered in the quietest yet most impactful way possible. Number 8. They stop sharing their mind with you. When a Sigma male stops caring, one of the clearest signs is their silence. They stop sharing their mind with you. their thoughts, opinions, and ideas that once gave you a glimpse into their unique perspective. Conversations that were once meaningful and thought-provoking become dry, transactional, or non-existent. It's not that they've run out of things to say. They've just decided that you no longer need access to their inner world. For a Sigma male, sharing their thoughts isn't something they do lightly. It's reserved for people they trust, respect, or find value in. If they stop, it's not an accident. It's a deliberate choice. This isn't about playing games or being petty. It's about closing a door they no longer feel the need to keep open. You'll notice they only give vague answers, respond with minimal effort, or avoid certain topics entirely. Their words become a polite wall, not an invitation to dig deeper. What makes this so striking is how effortless it seems. They don't announce that they're pulling back, and they don't explain why. They just do it. The connection you once felt fades into a quiet, polite distance that leaves you wondering what changed. But the truth is, they've already moved on in their mind. For them, sharing their thoughts is an investment, and if they've stopped doing so, it means they've decided the relationship or interaction no longer offers a return worth the effort. This withdrawal isn't emotional, it's practical. They're not angry, hurt, or bitter. They've simply recalibrated where their energy goes. When they stop sharing their mind, it's not just a shift in conversation, it's a silent, definitive signal that you, number 9, they stop trying to impress or prove a point. When a Sigma male stops trying to impress or prove a point, it's often the clearest indication that they've checked out. There's no more effort to put on a show, no desire to compete for attention or recognition. They're done playing the social game. For them, seeking approval or proving their worth to others is a waste of time, something they've long outgrown. When they stop trying, it's not because they've failed or given up, it's because they simply don't need to. They know their value and won't waste energy chasing validation from anyone. This shift can be startling for those around them, especially if you're used to them striving for success or pushing boundaries. But once a Sigma male reaches the conclusion that impressing others is pointless, they stop engaging in the kind of performance that society expects. They're not trying to impress the crowd. They're focused on their own goals and ambitions, regardless of whether anyone else notices or cares. The beauty of this detachment is that it's liberating. They've realized that impressing people isn't a measure of their success or happiness. The need to prove themselves simply fades away, replaced by an inner peace that only comes with true self-awareness. No more flashy displays or unnecessary accomplishments, just the quiet confidence of someone who has nothing left to prove. What's remarkable is how they do all this without fanfare. There's no big announcement or dramatic shift. They simply stop. No more effort to gain approval, no more energy spent on showing off. It's all about living for themselves, without the need for applause. And in a world where most people are obsessed with standing out, this quiet refusal to play the game becomes a powerful, unapologetic statement of self-reliance. Number 10. They outgrow situations like it's second nature. For a Sigma male, outgrowing situations is second nature. It's not a painful process or a dramatic shift. It just happens. They're constantly evolving, and when something no longer aligns with who they are or where they're going, they naturally move on. Whether it's a job, a friendship, or a romantic relationship, they don't hold on to situations simply for the sake of nostalgia or comfort. The moment they recognize they've outgrown something, it's like a switch flips. They don't cling to it or prolong it. They just let go and keep moving forward. This ability to outgrow things isn't about rejecting the past or ignoring the lessons learned. It's more about an unwavering commitment to their own growth. A Sigma male's focus is always on what's next, never on what's behind them. They understand that holding on to outdated situations can stunt their progress, so they leave them behind without a second thought. It's not personal, it's practical. Life, for them, is a series of phases, and once a phase no longer serves its purpose, they move to the next one without hesitation. What makes this trait so remarkable is the ease with which they do it. They don't burn bridges or make a scene. They simply fade out of situations, as though they were never fully invested to begin with. For those around them, It can feel like being left in the dust. But to the Sigma male, it's just a natural part of their journey. They've learned that growth requires space, and they make room for it by leaving behind anything that no longer fits their path. There's no regret, no holding on, just a quiet determination to keep moving forward, wherever that may lead. In the end, the Sigma male's ability to remain emotionally detached, to refuse to conform to expectations, and to move through life with such self-assured independence is what makes them so intriguing. They don't play by society's rules. They don't waste energy on things that don't serve them, and they certainly don't care about impressing others. Their actions speak louder than any words, and their detachment is more than just indifference. It's a calculated, purposeful way of maintaining control over their lives. They don't need validation, they don't need drama, and they don't need to explain themselves. What sets Sigma males apart is that they embrace their inner peace, their autonomy, and their growth without apology. They are the masters of their own reality, and if you're lucky enough to be part of that reality, you'll see a side of them that's quiet yet powerful, unshakable yet approachable. But the moment you cease to align with their purpose, you'll feel their withdrawal, not with hostility, but with the subtlety of someone who simply no longer has time to invest. If nothing else, a Sigma male reminds us of the power of detachment and the strength found in living life on your own terms. They show us that sometimes not caring is the most empowering choice you can make. Because in a world that constantly demands more, a Sigma male proves that the most exceptional thing you can do is not give an inch. If you've found yourself intrigued by the Sigma male's world of independence, detachment, and quiet power, then you're exactly where you need to be. Don't miss out on more insights, deeper dives, and unique perspectives that'll challenge the way you see the world. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button now. Join us on this journey because we're just getting started, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.